This episode is brought to you by the Missoula Arts and Culture Center. Because their Wolf Theater Academy is inviting students kindergarten through 12th grade to explore acting, musical theater, and improv in a professional, inclusive setting. Students can explore 2-week sessions spotlighting popular plays, including Disney's The Little Mermaid, 10 Ways to Survive a Zombie Apocalypse, and Seussical Jr. I wish I could invite you to enroll your kid in their Wizard of Oz Youth Edition, but it is already sold out, so you better act fast. They also offer a technical apprenticeship that lets teens master set building, lighting, sound, and props behind the scenes. Faculty and guest professionals foster creativity, teamwork, and self-confidence in every student. Enroll now at jccdenver.org/camps/WTA and let your star shine on stage. That's jccdenver.org/camps/WTA. And don't worry about that URL. You can find it in the show notes. Today on CityCast Denver. Every day on the podcast, we open up the CityCast Denver hotline and invite listeners to share questions, comments, and hot takes. So ahead of our big event this weekend, we're previewing the fun by opening up the mailbag and talking about what you care about. So this time, we heard from anonymous federal workers, frustrated servers, and folks with some hilarious, toxic Colorado traits. Today is Wednesday, March 5th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Good morning, producer Paul Caroli.
Hey, good morning, Bree.
And hi, producer Olivia Jewel Love.
Good morning.
So we have this huge event happening this Saturday, March 8th, called Hay Day. But something that's really cool that we're doing there is we're going to have a real-life CityCast Denver hotline at Hay Day on Saturday. So you can come and record. We have a prompt on it, and you can come and answer what our prompt is, and we might play it on the show later. But in advance of that, to get ready for that, we have to clear out the actual mailbag that we have because we have gotten so many comments and questions and thoughts that have come through from our listeners, and we wanted to share them. So what are we starting with, Paul?
I think we got to talk about federal workers.
Yes. So we talked about that last Friday.
Huge, hot topic right now. The whole city's talking about it. Everyone's worried about it. I keep hearing from people in my life who are being affected by this. I just learned last night, I didn't even think about this. My is a federal worker. He got the email, the 5 things email.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And apparently what he was doing was his whole department well, God, I actually don't know if I should talk about this. I was like, all these messages we got from federal workers are anonymous because no one wants to be targeted. So you know what? That's it. I'm not saying more.
Yeah.
I have a family member who was affected by this, and it's scary.
And I think that's the depth of how scary this is for folks is we're living in America and people are afraid to talk about if they work for the government or not, which is wild.
It's a weird, weird world.
We heard from a lot of folks who did wish to remain anonymous. I think we had someone text us to say, like, I'm texting you from a number that's not even mine because I'm so nervous. Paul, do you want to read us the first email we got?
I would love to.
Okay.
So this person writes, "Hi, CityCast Denver team. I'm writing in response to your February 28th episode, Doge Cuts Hit Denver." This was our Friday episode with good friend of the show, Deep Singh Badesha. They say, "I'm requesting that I remain anonymous if you choose to share this on the podcast out of fear of retribution. Several of my colleagues have already been doxxed for speaking out." Scary.
Oh my gosh.
They go on. "I am a federal employee living in Denver, Colorado, and was recently fired as a result of Doge's illegal dismantling of the U.S. Agency for International Development, aka USAID. I'm not going to read the whole email. I'm going to get to the parts that I thought were particularly grabbed me, at least. So they go on. "In my role, I helped facilitate emergency humanitarian assistance programming, serving on multiple disaster response teams, including Yemen, Ukraine, and Syria. This was truly my dream job, and I am so incredibly proud of the work that we accomplished at USAID, all at less than 1% of the federal budget." Which is a point I've seen many people make. If these Doge people actually wanted to make a dent, they'd go after the Defense Department. Anyway, that's not a Denver thing. That's a Washington thing. The email goes on. The past few weeks have been devastating to say the least. On the national stage, USAID employees have been called criminals, evil, radical, leftist lunatics, incompetent, and insubordinate. Elon Musk has used his massive platform to disparage our work and spread lies about our programming, which is, of course, is now being parroted by the right. Watching our work that saves millions of lives across the world, get torn down by the world's richest man has been horrifying. Of course, it has been difficult to lose my source of income, but I think it is worse to know that the work I've dedicated my life to is being destroyed and millions of people around the world will suffer as a result. I mean, these are, like Deep was saying on the show, these are like mission-driven people. This is so hard. And then the joblessness, we didn't even talk about on Friday that much, but the fact that unemployment is going up right now as all these cuts are happening, I don't know where that's going to lead.
Yeah. I think the point about people devoting their lives to this is really important to think about because, I mean, we work in journalism. We work in a field that has been attacked and we have been discredited, and people have said that they don't believe in what we're doing. And so I think we all know how that feels, but I can't imagine my job being ripped out from under me if it was the thing I do every day that I care about and that's the reason I go to work. And then all of a sudden, not only am I not allowed to do it, but people in power are telling me I'm terrible. Mm-hmm. This is really intense.
Very sad.
Yeah. I feel for these people. I'm so sorry. Thank you for sharing this with us. I think it's helpful, though, for folks to hear.
Yeah, this person, I mean, their spouse has also been affected by this. They're talking about how it's affected their livelihood. And the last line here is this is the last bit I'll pass along from this person. This is pure cruelty, orchestrated by a billionaire who could care less about the working class. Mm-hmm. Which reminds me of a meme I saw that pointed out the comparison between what is happening now with Elon Musk in the White House and a friend of the show David Sirota's movie Don't Look Up, where that creepy billionaire was invited into the White House and then helped orchestrate this master plan that eventually set the Earth on this collision course with an asteroid and killed all of humanity.
So
David Sirota, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's thinking.
Go watch Idiocracy. Just double feature it. Watch Idiocracy and then watch Don't Look Up, and there we are.
And then maybe go watch something nice to kind of make you feel better.
And then whatever your balming, soothing show is.
Go watch like Shark Tales or something.
Yeah, or whatever Bravo universe you live in. Go live there for a little while because it'll make you feel better.
Make you feel a little better.
Yeah.
Oof.
Do we want to hear another one from another federal worker?
I think we should do one more because this one gets to
the
news of this week specifically.
Yeah, I can read another one, another anonymous email we have. Hi, CityCast Denver. I'm a longtime listener and Denverite. Shout out East Denver. Love your podcast and so appreciate the mix of recommendations of fun events along with important news and current events. I'm a much more informed Denverite thanks to your pod.
Oh,
thanks.
That's
so nice.
That's really nice.
I was surprised you didn't address a potentially huge impact on Colorado, cuts to federal science funding, especially NIH and NSF. For example, the University of Colorado system is one of the top employers in the state. One, if Trump/Doge/RFK's proposed cuts to NIH funding went through, the result could be a loss of over $50 million annually to the CU system.
Oh, and my
these cuts,
God.
And the NIH is National Institutes of Health for folks.
Yes. And these cuts are to indirect costs, which are often called overhead and sound unnecessary. But in reality, indirect costs pay things like salaries for facility staff who keep the lights and electricity running. Indirect costs pay salaries for health and safety staff that make sure biohazardous waste is disposed of safely to protect our community. And indirect costs pay for cutting-edge shared resources and ethics review boards. The result of the proposed cuts to science funding would be a lot of people in Colorado losing their jobs, not to mention the future impact of stifling scientific training and limiting Coloradans' access to clinical trials. Wow.
These are the long-term impacts, right? The immediate impacts of folks losing their jobs, but then also what that means for the future of how we live,
Yeah. And I think this is a particularly Colorado story. I mean, this person's talking about the NIH and the National Science Foundation, but also this week we saw there was cuts to NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration.
Yes.
There's an office in Boulder. I saw a protest. There were like more than 1,000 people out there, organized by former Congressman David Skaggs. the National Weather Service, there were firings. I don't think we know exactly how many firings at each of those there were, but like, yeah, this is why people come to Denver. We have this strong community of scientists, and it's currently got the sights on them from Washington.
So scary.
It's upsetting to think about the amount of like science and research that could be lost.
Okay,
But
let's move on to something a little more fun. We did this show recently. What is your toxic Colorado trait? With friends of the show, Kate McLaughlin and Justine Sandoval. And we had such a fun time making the show, but also we got a ton of responses from folks who were also very willing to share their toxic Colorado traits. Paul, do you want to read this text from Jonathan B?
Absolutely. Jonathan B. writes, "Hey, CityCast. One trait I'm guilty of, not paying for metered parking when I only need 10 minutes. Love the show. See you at Heyday."
I mean, I can't say I haven't done that.
I mean, sometimes you risk it. You risk it. See how it goes.
like when we went down to South Broadway the other day and I completely forgot that meters existed. And then newsletter editor Adrian Gonzalez said something about his meter running out. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot that meters exist.
Did they ding you? Did you get a ticket?
No, I didn't get a ticket.
Always
So
a
that
gamble.
was me. That was for living right. That was a sign from the universe.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I get it. I get it. But I've also played the game and lost. So
I'd like to, I mean, speaking of Heyday and parking,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways to get to Heyday. It's at the Asterisk building in 5 Points, but we got directions on our website. If you want to take public transit there, there's a bunch of like paid parking lots over there. I'll probably be walking.
Uber.
Seems
like a
it's
pedicab.
Ride your
gonna be a
bike.
nice
Little-
day.
Yeah.
a little peddler bike thing.
Definitely plan ahead. Let's hear a voicemail.
Hey, it's Ian. I'm from Lakewood. Or I live in Lakewood, grew up in Aurora. Anyway,
Very
some
specific.
of my toxic Colorado traits are, I'm still not over the fact that they replaced one of the voices on the DIA train. I think they shouldn't have never had replaced Adele Arakawa. She was perfectly fine. Another toxic Colorado trait I have is that I complain about people from out of state, especially Californians, even though both of my parents are from California. So anyway, those are my toxic Colorado traits. Love the pod. Thanks, y'all.
I want to call out one he also just does in this, which is like, I live in Lakewood, but I'm from Aurora, just so you all know. I'm not representing this particular part of the metro area. I have to be true to where I'm from. He also name-checked Adele Arakawa, who folks may not know I think she retired 10 years ago, but she was an evening anchor on Channel 9 for a long time. And he was upset that they replaced her voice on the DIA trains. I love that.
That's funny.
That was good.
Nice.
That was good. I like that one. Olivia, do you have one? Have you confessed one? I want to hear one from you. I'm putting you on the spot.
I have one that I've been thinking about. So the whole zipper merge thing,
Uh-huh.
I'm here for it. I'm trying to be with the spirit of zipper merging. I get it. I know it works. It's a thing. But when it's happening, I can't help but have my feelings hurt when people are cutting in front of me. I feel upset when someone's going in front of me because I feel like I was in the right lane the whole time and then you're just coming up and cutting in front of me. And I feel like I just get my feelings hurt for no reason. And I know that's a toxic trait. And I'm trying to be in the spirit of zipper merging. But
You ever in there
You know
pretending
what?
not to notice somene's trying to get in? Just like, oh, what's happening?
if it's a
What's happening
Cybertruck, I'm actively not letting
For
them in.
sure.
In
That's
solidarity
just-
with the
yeah.
federal workers.
Yeah, solidarity.
With the human race. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's definitely my toxic trait. I want to be on board with the zipper merge, but I just get my feelings hurt really quickly. So
I think
You
it's a
know.
little ego oriented too, because like you said, I already knew which lane to be in, you know?
yeah, oh, for sure. I'm like, I was smart. I planned ahead. I was in
Yeah.
the right lane. And then you just come up last minute.
I think
And
it's-
I know that's how it works.
No, but I also think it's because the reason for someone else zipper merging into you is unknown. Like they may have not known. This may be the first time they've driven this route, or they may just be an asshole that's going to cut everybody off. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel. Is like I don't know what your intention is, or I don't know how prepared you were or weren't, and I was. So I'm with you.
I just get my feelings hurt when driving really easily, and that's a toxic trait for sure.
All right, let's get
Paul, do you
another
have any?
voicemail in here.
I was going to ask you, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Paul, you skirted
Yeah,
out of that
nice
real
one,
quick.
Paul.
Well,
come
I started this whole thing off by confessing one of mine, but I have since thought of another. A few weeks ago when I put out the call for this, I was like, I have never once even considered putting snow tires on my car. And
Why?
a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it. Seems
On your
expensive.
Prius?
Yeah. Also,
I feel
Prius handles like a dream in the snow. Listeners know this.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
How often
My
do you
other one-
change your normal tires? Are they like bald?
Probably. My other one is I will buy at least one reusable water bottle per year. At least one. I love these things. I love the new models. I love trying out different brands. I know it's so wasteful, it defeats the purpose of these things, but I love them and I can't stop.
Reusable.
I think that's such a true Colorado thing, though. Like, we have a whole cabinet of reusable water bottles, and you can only use one at a time. I don't know why we need 40.
Yeah.
Well, that depends on how many drinks you have.
Well,
Yeah,
I used to
that's true.
make the mistake of believing them when they said, because these things are advertised, they're like, keeps your hot drinks hot, keeps your cold drinks cold. So I used to use one for both ice water and coffee. But if you use it for coffee, it stains, and then this flavor of coffee
Tastes
starts
gross.
seeping into the water, and I don't like that. So I needed to get a second one. I actually needed to get a second one.
He actually needed it.
It's reasonable.
It was necessary.
Thank you.
I think it's totally reasonable. I'm
It's
with
fine.
you. 'Cause
It's not toxic when Paul does it.
Well, you don't want your water to taste like coffee, you know?
Yeah, that's gross.
It's legitimate.
Yeah.
Let's hear another one from a
Yeah, let's hear
listener.
another voicemail.
Hey, Bree. This is Katie from Arvada, although I left my heart in Villa Park. I loved the most recent episode on Denver's toxic traits, and I feel like I have so many of them. But as one of the unfortunate Coloradans who is allergic to our weed culture, I thought I should call in and let you know that I actually go into anaphylactic shock when I've been exposed to too much pot smoke. And I spent 6 hours in the downtown Denver Health ER after being exposed to so many folks engaging in the Colorado culture of smoking weed. I was just trying to go to my job in Lodo and then go check out a movie at the C Film Center, but instead I ended up in the ER because my throat closed up. My allergist has several patients with this allergy, so I support your rights, but please use edibles. Thanks. Love the show. Bye.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry that happens to you. I've never heard of this before. I'm not surprised. I mean, it makes sense. We can be allergic to all kinds of things, and it's not funny, but I think she mentions the C, and I think that's where Kate on our show said she was smoking weed outside of last time. Oh, that's so scary. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I appreciate the perspective from Katie here. I do have to make a request. I mean, I would be happy to stop smoking weed in public, Katie, if you call back in and leave us a toxic trait. Give us your toxic trait. You got to give it to us now.
I'm going to be honest. As somebody who used to have to carry an EpiPen, who like had an anaphylactic allergy, it's like kind of funny. Like to have it, like I know that's a terrible
To be
thing
at
say.
risk of constant risk of death.
Yeah, I mean, like
like,
it's so funny to have like your biggest op be a strawberry. Like that's
My
that's
mom
just
has that. Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Like I mean, it's terrible. It's like I could die, yeah, but like the fact that it's a strawberry that could do it, like that's kind of funny.
All right.
Maybe that's a hot take.
I know. I'm like thinking about my friends that have to carry EpiPens, and it is, I don't know if they think it was funny. I see what you're saying, but also thank you to that listener for sharing that perspective. This episode is brought to you by the Arvada Center. Because their spring musical is opening this month, and it's a good one. Check out A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, opening March 28th. This Tony Award-winning musical comedy is about just how far one poor clerk will go to claim his inheritance. His name is Monty, by the way. Check out A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, running March 28th through May 11th. Paul, I'm going to go see this just based on Monty. Obviously. I didn't name my son Montgomery for no reason. Not after the great theatrical, started in theater, then went on to do Oscar-winning work. Actually, I don't know if he won an Oscar. Montgomery Clift, of course. Tickets are available now at arvatacenter.org. That's arvatacenter.org. That is why you should go see this musical. This episode is brought to you by Clear Creek Makerspace. Ever wanted to laser etch your face onto a piece of toast or 3D print a perfect replica of your precious cat, Mr. Mittens? Or weld together a life-size metal T-Rex for your front yard? Or finally build that beautiful custom kitchen table? No matter what sort of creative project or small business idea you dream up, you can make it at Clear Creek Makerspace. 3D print a miniature of my 1963 yellow Super Beetle. I miss that car. So what's a makerspace? Well, think of it like a gym for your creative muscles. Just 15 minutes from downtown Denver, CCM gives you 24/7 access to tons of high-tech tools that you might not have at home. Think 3D printers, laser cutters, robotics, sewing, crafting, woodworking, welding, and so much more. Memberships max out at just $60 a month, and there are tons of affordable discounts for students, seniors, veterans, and educators. Check out clearcreekmakerspace.com for free public classes, exciting new special events, membership info, fun challenges, and more. That's clearcreekmakerspace.com. Okay, let's move on to, oh my gosh, something we just can't stop talking about because it's impacting so many people. It's wild. The tipped minimum wage debate. We talked about this yesterday because the mayor was talking about it on our show last week when we asked him about it. And we've talked to folks on all sides of the issue. Olivia, do you want to read this email?
For sure. Dear CityCast Denver, we are reaching out anonymously regarding our recent episode featuring Juan Padro of Culinary Creative Group. In the episode, it was alluded that employees are overpaid and able to afford far more than just living expenses. Unfortunately, this does not reflect the reality of working within this company.
Can we stop here, actually? Just a little context. The first proposal, the first person to go public with this idea of lowering the tip minimum wage was Juan Padro and Scott Wasserman on our show in conversation with me a few weeks ago. And Juan Padro was making this point about how the servers at his company, Culinary Creative Group, are getting paid so much that he shouldn't have to pay them as much and they would still be fine. And it would allow him to keep his restaurants open, providing the service that he knows that many Denverites love. And this is also important because Juan Padro is fully in the mayor's ear about this. If you heard the mayor talk on our show about this, he was quoting statistics directly out of Juan Padro's mouth. So this whole, and also Juan Padro, kind of public enemy number one when it comes to restaurant business in Denver. I mean, the Bonanos get a lot of hate, but Juan Padro gets a lot of hate online. Just search their names on the Denver Food subreddit. You'll see rumors, you'll see allegations, much like the ones we're hearing in this anonymous email from CCG employees. Sorry, I just had to say that in case people aren't aware of what we're talking about here. But yeah, go on, Olivia.
Yeah, thanks for the context. All right, so the email goes on. What was not mentioned in the episode is that CCG, the Culinary Creative Group, applies a service charge of 20% to each bill. This is presented as a tip on the checks with the option to add an additional tip, implying that the service charge is a tip. Of this 20%, the company takes 30% automatically, and it is used for God knows what. CCG has never told us specifically. We suspect that it is used to open new restaurants and pay our wages. This significantly reduces what we take home. We also wanted to state that many of us have had our hours cut, making it necessary to take on second and even third jobs just to cover basic expenses. The portrayal in the episode felt out of touch and impersonal, overlooking the financial strain that the system creates for employees. Juan also comes into most of the restaurants and bars in the group regularly and comps $800 to $2,000 bills regularly, and which reduces the small amount we receive in weekly tip pools even more. The company has also cut management roles, so 2 to 3 spots have only one GM, which is overworking the upper level employees because the company is still so worried about labor costs. Our employees are overworked and severely undervalued. I wanted to bring this to your attention because statements like these can shape public perception and obscure the real issues hospitality workers face, especially in this company. I hope you will consider revisiting this topic or at least ensuring that the future discussions reflect a more accurate picture of this company and the industry all of us work so hard in. Thanks for your time.
Wow. I have to say, this is the response. This is what I wanted to hear, or at least I wanted to hear from this side of the conversation after listening to Juan Padro. I found it an incredibly frustrating episode to listen to, because again, there's some specifics in here that I have heard from other workers, which is the service charge being then divvied up. So it's not just like me, the customer, would assume the service charge, and then it says additional tip makes me think the service charge is the tip. And these workers are saying, no, it's not. That's being split up even after. We don't get the full thing. So this was really enlightening, and I appreciate these folks reaching out to us.
The part that's jumping out to me from this is the comping of the $800 to $2,000 bills regularly.
Yeah.
That's like wild.
I mean, this is a echelon of Denver's social classes that I do not see very often.
Yeah, I'm like curious who these people are. These like really cool like influencers and stuff that are coming. I mean, because usually those people already have their stuff comped like before they even come in.
Well, they're comped by people like Juan Padro. He's the owner
so
of this
is this
huge
like
group.
the football players coming at like
100%.
the Broncos guy?
I also took it though as like Juan Padro doing his business in the restaurant. So if it's him coming in with other investors or other real estate types, he's entertaining and then comping because it's his restaurant. That's what you do. It's your restaurant. You comp the bill. But what they're saying is you comp a $2,000 bill. We're not getting tipped. So we're working for free, running probably a table of 10 to 12 people, and we're not getting a tip on that work. So
Right. And also when it's somebody with the bill that high, he's hoping for really excellent service, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
He's
You're
trying
waiting
to
on
wine and dine someone. He's trying to impress
he's trying to really impress
You're
people.
waiting on your boss, you guys. Like,
Yeah, you
that's
gotta-
what's happening. So
You got to be top tier, not just, kind of slacking.
and generally
Well, let
that's
me-
what happens. Sorry.
Let me respond to this because I shared these allegations with Juan Padro, who I've been keeping in touch with through this whole debate, and he told me he rebutted some of these claims and he offered some of his own perspective, specifically on the service fee, the service charge that Culinary Creative Group adds to all bills within the network. He shared with me the CCG employee manual and an internal memo that he says he sent to all staff explaining how this would work. They made this change over a few years ago, and it was very controversial. One of the first one of the first points where he started getting a lot of people angry at him online. But these documents, and he told me that the 70% of the service charge you pay at CCG restaurants is paid out to front of house and back of house staff each week based on a merit structured point system. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to create like a career track for these people. Like there's senior bartenders, there's junior bartenders, and there's managers. So, and like the idea is that the more senior you have, the more experience you have, you'll get paid a little bit more. That's how he would explain it. The other 30% is retained for CCG to pay out at the company's discretion for other payroll expenses. The most common uses of the 30% service charge retained on the weekly spreadsheet are to provide competitive pay for our salaried workers. Like if a server or line cook is making more than their manager, for example, there is no incentive to be a manager or ever want to take on more responsibility. He told me this is a big problem in CCG restaurants. No servers want to become managers, even though it might seem more prestigious, because they'll make less money. So what he does is he takes that 30% and he redistributes it to managers. This is his logic. The other things that the 30% can go to are stipends to others that have additional responsibility at the restaurant, like bar managers, floor managers, those who have bar prep shifts, which is super controversial to be paying out service fee wages to managers. This is another thing he gets a lot of criticism for.
Yeah.
But again, he defends it because he thinks this is a way for him to keep the more experienced people moving up at the company. And this is something he's very proud of. The way CCG has expanded is he's recognized people that he really loves, he thinks are top performers or have a lot of potential, and he'll cultivate them, he'll help them grow in their careers, and then he'll partner with them to open new restaurants. Like he's sent people, I think it was Mr. Oso, he sent the person who he partnered with down to Peru to study and learn this cuisine and then come back and develop this menu. And now they're partners. And this is how they're growing. In summary, he says, 100% of the service charge collected on the guest bill goes towards payroll costs for all the people that help to make your restaurant a success. That does include managers. None goes to partners or investors of the company.
Interesting.
I know, right? It's like the restaurant business is fascinating and how people are all navigating this, trying to figure it out. I mean, I can see why a lot of people are upset about this, but I can also see how hard it is to try to make money in this up and down business.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's all. Is that all we have?
Yeah.
Is that all we're discussing?
Let's leave it there. Heyday on Saturday. Come do it in person. Give us a voicemail. Give us a text. Or just come talk to us in person at
We're
Heyday.
going to have an actual phone, aren't we?
We're going to have
It's gonna be a real
physical,
phone.
Real phone
real
there.
phone.
Real phone.
So you can
So cool.
leave us a message. And also, like Paul said, come say hi to us. We're super excited. Come meet us. We're going to be hanging out all day. Go to heydaydenver.com to buy tickets. Paul, Olivia, thanks for joining me.
See you next time.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell someone who works at the Federal Center about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And if you love the show, come see us in person at Heyday, an indoor fair with a distinctly Denver twist, this Saturday, March 8th. Get your tickets now at heydaydenver.com. And you can let us know what you think anytime on the CityCast Denver hotline. That number, as always, is 720-500-5418. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later.